even if I feel emotional, I ain't gonna show it. Like,
So we all know that Migos and Lil Baby had had some beef for a long time, but maybe it all runs deeper than we thought. At first, the reason for their problems was pretty obvious. With time, though, things got even crazier. With one of Migos' contacts coming out to talk about his issues with Offset, some of this mess might finally be coming to light. The story has everything, from some snake allegations to sneak disses. This feud doesn't show any signs of stopping anytime soon. So what really happened? First thing we gotta know about this story is that Lil Baby and Migos are signed to the same label, Quality Control. Now, you'd think that would bring them closer together, and they'd end up homies, right? Not quite. Seems like there was a lot of bad blood brewing around the time the long-awaited Culture 3 came out. People were hyped for it for a long time, waiting around forever for the drop. When it finally came out, it didn't achieve the same reception from the fans as their other projects. Migos were maybe the defining act at the end of the 2010s in hip-hop. I mean, you couldn't flip through channels on the radio without hearing the latest Migos track for a few years before the turn of the new decade. But think about it. When's the last time you actually heard Straightening or Need It without being the one who put it on? When's the last time you really heard Migos referred to? That's the problem. There's some debate among Migos fans and people who are interested in the industry in general, though. See, it would probably be Migos' point of view that the label completely screwed them over the release of Culture 3. The numbers themselves also aren't even bad. Like, the album did pretty well. Is that a problem with the music itself, or is that a problem with the promo? There's also the fact that the album was originally supposed to drop at the very beginning of 2019, which is a pretty reasonable release schedule for a group that big. That was one of the issues with the hype. You can only delay a drop so many times before people decide that they just don't care anymore. Because of some, big medical issues going on at the time, they had to delay that album once again, because it was apparently supposed to come out in 2020 after the first delay. Well, according to a lot of people, the case is that the label moved most of their resources away from trying to promote Migos and into making Lil Baby as big as he could be. It was Quality Control's next big product after Migos had run their course, essentially. Maybe the label let Migos' fame die out too early, or maybe fans actually just wanted something else. Now Lil Baby, on the other hand, is a whole different story. He and Migos are both from Atlanta. Lil Baby could be found around the Quality Control studios back in the early 2010s, selling some smoke and other stuff to artists and execs who working at the label. He hadn't even really considered rapping until people around him started to encourage him to get into the industry. His very first mixtape, released in 2017, saw him already starting out strong. He managed to secure features from the likes of Young Thug and Lil Yachty. No one was really into the stuff Lil Baby was putting out until a little bit later, when he released Freestyle. The attention generated by the track meant that all of a sudden all eyes were on the mixtapes that Lil Baby had released just a little bit earlier. The next huge release of his career would be his collab mixtape with one of his homies, Gunna. The tape, Drip Harder, ended up selling like crazy and going 9 times platinum. Ever since then, all of his albums and tapes have gone crazy in the charts. He's an industry baby, if you will. Lil Baby also put his own label together, called 4PF. He's even signed some really big up-and-coming artists, such as 42 Dugg. Going from selling in the studio to having your own label in just 4 or 5 short years, it's an insane level of success. But success breeds jealousy. With Lil Baby on a major come-up and Migos warming the bench, there was bound to be some tension over at Quality Control. Unfortunately, that tension would start to become public in 2020. On March 6th of that year, a bunch of reports came out that Lil Baby's crew jumped Offset. The report said that Baby's crew had Offset run his pockets, take off his jewelry and all his drips, leaving him in his underwear. There was a video floating around the internet, but it was not clear enough to see what was actually happening. Offset unfollowed Lil Baby on all his social media, and despite that fact, still no real proof would surface. Later on, Lil Baby would release a statement on the whole thing, saying, "That's capo." Lil Baby posts now have all been deleted, but he called the whole thing fake news, and he asked all his fans and everyone else to stop spreading the rumors. Of course, because of this, people wanted to know what was going on with their relationship. People on Twitter were kind of going for this story though, regardless of if proof ever showed up or not. One fan said, "Seth should have got Cardi involved. She would have got the bloods on him." Another fan pointed out the situation might have been different than it was being portrayed, pointing out definitely a video of him yelling, "What the f y'all doing, that's my bro," to his hood rat friends though. Lil Baby spoke on Migos in an interview to try and clear the air. He said, "Me and Migos don't really be making music. They be gone, I be gone. We don't really be sending each other shit," he explained. "Me and Quavo were around each other the other day and made a song, but with somebody else, so I didn't put that on my album. I with Takeoff and Offset. It's just they ain't never really been on my tapes. They're my mans and them. We on the same label, but we don't really be making music together like that. They be in their vibe, I'll be in my vibe." It seemed like things had been sorted out after this, but unfortunately they would continue to run into problems. Meanwhile, in August of 2020, Migos Migos were asked in an interview if they were proud of what Lil Baby was doing, since he was kind of like this new underdog type of figure who had just shown up out of nowhere on their label and taken the industry by storm. Instead of being really supportive of the dude, Quavo just answered for show, and then the interview kind of quickly moved on, like it didn't even happen.
Have you been impressed and proud of his moves? He's been doing his thing, man. He's become the guy.
For sure.
Did you hear the record I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was just topical, man. It was just, I get very excited to see artists, and there've been a lot of them. That's why I'm curious. I know you guys.
There were also rumors swirling around for a while that Lil Baby was dating Quavo's ex, Sweetie. Quavo and Sweetie were quite an item for a while, and if anything was going down, I could see why Quavo would have been upset. Their breakup was really public, and it seemed like the main narrative going down is that Quavo had cheated on her. When he got called out on social media, he basically ended up playing the victim. Eventually, a picture of Sweetie sitting on some random guy's lap came out, and fans were quick to realize that the clothes he was wearing looked really similar to some drip Lil Baby had been spotted in. Lil Baby even took Sweetie out to a date where he reportedly spent $100,000. Eventually though, Lil Baby came out and said he wasn't dating anybody. He and Sweetie were just friends. Everybody thought this whole thing was about to turn into a fight because basically everybody bought the story. If this true, the beef between the Migos and Lil Baby has just been reignited. A little later, Lil Baby and Migos got into some pretty light scuffles on social media. The Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather match, Migos came out before the fight to perform Straightening from Culture 3. A lot of people weren't really thrilled with the performance, and it doesn't really seem like Lil Baby was either. First line of the song is, "He act like something been taken, ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening." Then Lil Baby got on Instagram and reposted the lines on a black background with some laughing crying emojis. It wasn't much, but it definitely still felt like a jab at Migos. Now recently we're getting even more intel on what exactly is going down between Migos and Lil Baby. An Atlanta rapper who goes by Hollywood YC came out and he had a few things to say about Offset specifically. Before we really get into it, we gotta say that there's really no way to know if what he says is true, but he has some words about Offset. He since deleted this post off of his official Insta, but he captioned the post, "Cap ass, Offset, disloyal ass, clear your smoke, her first name, lame ass." In the video he posted, he says that Offset came to him complaining about how P, the big head at Quality Control, chose Lil Baby over them. Hollywood YC says Lil Baby way more real than them anyway. He also says, "You the same person who told me to take your best friend out. Y'all been friends since 5th grade." He also said that Offset was complaining about how Quavo was doing bad shows behind Quavo's back. These are some serious accusations to make, especially since Offset had some clout with a lot of people for a while. But Hollywood YC says the only reason they're even still popular is that Offset and Cardi B are together. We really can't say what's actually going on, but if Offset tried to for real snake on his own friend, that's a problem. Hollywood YC said that any sense of community in the rap game is fake. He thinks that it's really everyone out here for themselves. It's sad to hear, but maybe that really is the state of the industry out here. The fans didn't really want to hear it from YC though. They were calling him a police dude, an op, some stuff I'm not about to say on YouTube. One fan said, "This guy 12 is he trying to get them to confirm the he's saying so they can get locked up? Op shit." So what do y'all think on this one? Is Hollywood YC cap, or do y'all really think there's something going on here? Is Offset gonna respond to the rumors? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Also, you're gonna want to check out this next video.